pretty sure that we are gonna break YouTube in this video. Hello everyone, my name is Guilherme and this is another game engine devlog. I know that you guys have been asking me a lot for the new devlog, so I'd like to talk about what I'm doing in my game engine, what is happening to it, will I change the name, and what I'm working on. So first things first, yes, I'm gonna change the name. I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna do this because right now it's Uniday engine, if you don't know. And yes, I'm making a game engine, a C++, OpenGL, desktop 3D game engine that you will be able to use it, and you will be able to program in Python on it, which is amazing, and very soon in Visual Scripting. So and the name is Uniday Engine. That is basically the name of my company, Uniday Studio, but it's very similar to Unity and other engines, and I'm gonna change. But that's a problem because I don't know, I don't have a better name, not yet. So it's gonna take a little bit of time, but in the meantime, I'm working on something else, and I'd like to show that to you guys because it's so good. So immediately you can see here, and that's a little bit of why we were gonna break, or at least try to break YouTube in this video, because I'm working on particles, and this thing may not seem impressive, but wait a second, because it will become impressive. Because particle system in this engine, I already had a system, a backend for it. Very many months ago, I did implemented instancing in the engine, which is basically what you need in order to make a good particle system. But there was no way, no front end for it to access and indeed work in the particle systems. But now I'm kind of restoring this. I'm kind of adding a front end. So there's a component, it's called instance component, but I may change that to particle component or particle system and stuff like that, because it will make a little bit more sense. Okay, it's not very intuitive. And what this component does is it allows you to instantiate a bunch of meshes with a bunch of materials, armatures, and animation. And yes, you can use this to create like animated characters if you want. You can put particles that is actually an animated character. That's amazing. I don't have anything animated here to show you, so I'm gonna leave it to the next video. But I have a lot to show you in this video. So for instance, let me change that to a coin. I forgot to show in the last video as well, and I'm gonna show this in this video. Actually, let me show this first. So in the last video, I said that I completely rewrote the sound system of the game engine, and I forgot to show you. What an amazing thing, right? So let me import the sound here. I'm gonna import like a random MP3 sound and maybe an OGG. Let me drag and drop this thing here real quick, and here we go. I have a battle theme, and if I click on it, I can edit, and I can change the volume. Let me put 1. I don't know why it's 0 by default, and I have to change that, but I can play the sound, so I think you guys can hear that. I can pause, of course, the sound, I can resume, and I can stop the sound. Very simple. And something that is interesting that I added to the engine, of course, you can change the volume of the sound, and you can do a fade in and a fade out to the sound. And what is a fade in and a fade out? You can, it's in seconds, so it's 1.27 seconds. If I hold Control, I can change that. Let me put 1 second. Fade in and fade out defines like if you put that in a sound, you're not gonna start immediately. You're gonna fade until the maximum volume, and the same for the fade out. So if I play this, you may be able to see. Let me increase the volume here in OBS. So it faded in, and now let me stop. It's faded out, and of course I can't speak while that. So okay. Now let me stop it. Here we go. So this is a new feature, and unfortunately I was not able to put the pitch here. I think the pitch is something very important in the sound system. I was not able to do that, but I'm working on it. I'm using SDL in the backend here to handle the sounds, and I have no idea how to change the pitch in SDL. There's no like default way to do it, so we're gonna have to write something a little bit more complicated. I'm using SDL Mixer, if I remember correctly, so if you know how to do it, leave in the comments because it's gonna help you. So let me go back to the particle system, which is the best part of this video, and I'm gonna start talking about that. So I'm gonna add a coin mesh here as a default mesh, and you can see here that I do have different coins. And let me go back in the materials. Something that I'm planning to change very soon is to actually put some thumbnails in the materials, but for now there's nothing here. I think this is the coin material. No. Oh, I'm being dumb. I can just see like what this looks like, because this is not an instance, this is an actual object. So let me see, badass coin. Let me try to find a badass coin here. Let me type it actually. Badass coin. Here we go. And now every single particle have a badass coin appearance. Okay, very simple, and I can change the number of instances here. It's 1,000 for now. Let me put 10,000, and you can see that now I have 10,000 particles, but they are all static, they are not moving, and this is something that I'm still working on, but it's really possible. But it's interesting because until now there was no need, actually there was no need to run logic in the editor, because well, the editor is where you actually edit the game and you don't want to run logic. So the game engine simply does not run any type of logic when you are editing, only when you press play. So when I started working in the particle system, I ran into a problem because of that. Because if I want my particles to move, well, I need to run some logic on it, and there was no way to do it. So right now there's no way to see the particle moving in the editor, but unless you press play. So we're gonna do that in a second, but I'm changing that. Don't worry, I'm gonna change until the next release when we have particle systems. Okay, so let me press play to literally start a game. There's a bunch of particles that disappeared here, but because of the life cycle, and I need to change like the linear velocity, and let me reset the particles. Here we go. Let me also increase the particles, the particle count. There's no save load of this part here. That's why when I started the game, it resetted the settings to the default ones, because I'm not saving this, because it's all placeholder. And if you see here, all the particles are moving, and I can like define a velocity, a friction. If I put some friction, it's gonna slowly stop moving after some time. I need to put a negative friction. No, I don't know. It's still work in progress, and this is something that I'd like to ask for your help, because I actually have no idea how to make a solid and a very complex, but at the same time simple system to allow you to control how the particle will behave. Because right now what I have is you can define a minimum and a maximum scale of the particle. So if I want this like the particles to be way bigger, you can see now that some particles are spawning in a very big size here because I changed it, and I can define like a default rotation. I can define the spawn area, and by the way, that's cool because if I put 0 and 0, it's gonna start spawning in the center. So you can see here. That's amazing, right? So I have a bunch of particles and they are all starting in the center. Let me reset the particles so you can see. Here we go. Bunch of particles appearing in the center. So I can do this kind of stuff. I can make it spawn like only in two axes, so it's spawning in the X and Z axis, not in the Y. So they are all spawning in the same Y axis. And I can change this kind of stuff. I can change how they move. They are not rotating, but I can add some angular velocity to it. Let me start adding, and as soon as the particle despawn and spawn again, and why the particle is disappearing after some time, because I'm having like a life to it. If I put the life to 0, though, it will never stop. So you can see this particle, if you follow this particle, very distorted one, but it will not gonna stop. It is gonna last forever, okay? It also means that after some time, you no longer have new particles being spawned, and yes, because that's why you have it's good to have a time. So now I have a time, and my particle will leave during that time, and then it will stop leaving. Let me restart. Let me put like 0.5 seconds, not a lot. Here you go. Bunch of particles appearing and disappearing very fast. So I can do this kind of control to it, but I think it needs more. Like, I need to change the scale of the particle. I need to change other variables of the particle. I think that may be a great idea. So I'm not sure. I don't know yet. Here you go. Particle despawn. Let me increase here the spawn area to like maybe 50, and that's great. Oh, by the way, this is an object, so I can move the object, and if I move, the particle is gonna move, and I can duplicate the object, which is interesting, because if I shift D, here we go, I have two different objects here, and they are all generating particles. I can rotate, I can scale this object as well, and the particles we're gonna scale as well, just like that. Here we go. And it's all working very well. I can change the objects as well. Let me actually try to do it. I'll duplicate this. So now I have twice as much particles that I had before, and I'm gonna change the mesh to the default cube and the material to the default material. Then I have a bunch of cubes here and a bunch of particles. Let me change the maximum scale to 1.5. These cubes are crazy big, and let me make them maybe not walk, not have a linear velocity, something like that, only in the y-axis. So now I have a bunch of cubes walking and a bunch of coins. Isn't that crazy? Like, we have 20,000 objects here. It's running at like 50, 20 or 30 FPS, you can see here, but I'm recording this screen, so it's impacting a little bit in the performance. This is not a very robust particle like rendering, but it's way cooler than having nothing, okay? And you can do that for all sorts of different stuff. For example, if you set up, like, if you want to do a crowd, as I said before, you can have, let me change to my camera real quick so YouTube is not gonna die. But if you have like a crowd system, you are doing like a SimCity, a city simulation game, and you want to have like 10,000 characters walking in the map, you can use this, and like, just don't make the crowd rotate on every axis. You can make them rotate in the y-axis, which is the up axis in the engine, and just make it move forward. And you're gonna have a bunch of animated characters walking, and that's amazing, okay? Of course, you can set up explosions. This is something that I'm working on, because I need to add a flag that say respawn the particles, because what happens to an explosion is like you have a bunch of particles, but then when a particle ends its life cycle, it is not gonna respawn again. So that's why I have boom. Okay, bunch of particles are gonna appear, gonna spread, do some crazy stuff, but it is not gonna continue to spawn new particles. This is an explosion, basically. So I have to add that as an option as well. So I'm working in the system. It's very simple, as you can see here. I can only have this much freedom when working on it, but still, that's interesting. That's amazing to have in the engine. So I've been working on that. I've been fixing a bunch of other minor bugs that I'm receiving in my Discord server. If you're not in my Discord, consider joining, because it's amazing. I have it here. Let me spoil that to you if I can. So here's the Discord server. I just released the latest version. It's only in the Discord, and many people is reporting, like, I have a bug report that people can report some bugs. I have like a suggestion tab. I have like the creations, so people can show off what they're doing. We were talking about like the visual scripting in the engine. I was showing off this feature as well, because if you are in my Discord, you can have this kind of stuff earlier, so you don't have to wait a lot. And of course, many cool people here, and we've been talking a lot about design decisions and stuff like that. So I'll leave the link in the description if you can join. Okay, let me stop the game, and since we did everything inside the game, oops, it crashed. I'm back. I forgot about that, but it's still in development, so I'm not worrying a lot about things crashing, because I'm changing things right now, and it may crash. But don't worry, I know why it's crashing. It's because I'm not like handling the particles as I need to handle when they finish, because again, I'm working on it. I have no idea if I'm gonna keep things like this, if I'm gonna change everything. I don't know yet. I need to decide that, but still, it's a great feature to have here. And last but not least, let me go here and go down a little bit. Why I'm having like a problem in my lava? Where is the plane? I think this is the plane. Yes. The normals are weird, and it's probably something due to the wine shader. Yay, I'm not sure, but anyways, on video access, not sure, but anyways, folks, I'm working on that. It's very interesting to have this kind of feature, and I'm very excited. Something that I'd like to share with you is that I really want to make a game using this engine. I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to start making a game. But in order to start making the game, I need to publish at least 1.0, which is really gonna be the first official release of the engine. And something that I'm worried about is that I definitely don't want to release a bad or just another game engine in the marketing. So I'm making sure that right now I can add like as much as cool features as I can to the engine, so when I do the 1.0 release and people start like seeing the engine and testing and using it, it's gonna have at least a good foundation of what this is gonna become in the future. Of course, I can't do anything because, well, the more I delay the release, the less I'm gonna have like time to test things, so it's not very good, but I'm trying to balance things. So for the 1.0 release, I think I'm planning to, some huge thing that I was planning to do before this release is the new asset system, and it's kind of working very well right now. I have some minor stuff that I need to fix here, but it's still like working very well. I can create an object, I can create a folder and put stuff inside a folder, as you can see here. I can remove stuff from a folder and do a lot of cool stuff, and this is something very important in a game engine. And the other thing that I'd like to do, like, it's pretty much done. I'm just adding like the stuff that I need, that I think are gonna be good to put in the engine before the final initial release to it. So I'm finishing the particle system, because particle, I think it's very important. I need to figure out a good way to control the particles, but a simple one as well. So I may do that. I need to fix some stuff in the Python API. It's important, and maybe add the tooling support, because I can't wait to add tooling support. And why? What is tooling support? It's basically like I want you to be able to write scripts that are gonna serve as add-ons for the engine. Like a script that you write, you're gonna open a new engine tab like this one, and you'll be able to do like custom stuff using this script. It's very good. You can use it to generate like procedural stuff, to help you creating the game and stuff like that. I really want to add this, and maybe I'm gonna start working in the visual scripting. But again, visual scripting is not trivial to do. It's gonna take a lot of time, maybe months to develop 100%. But yeah, maybe I'm gonna start. Actually, let me show that to you. So we're not gonna talk a lot about that, but I do have, like, I've been testing some branches in IMGUI for visual scripting, and I have this one. It's still work in progress, so it's not working as you can expect correctly. I'm not working on that actively, but it's still like a beginning of what we're gonna be the visual scripting of the game engine. So you can see you'll be able to connect nodes. It's not possible to do it yet, but and have some default values, variables and stuff like that. Just a test, okay? But this we're gonna probably be the way that I will go with for visual scripting, something similar to, I don't know, the other ones, the other big ones, but a little bit more unique. I have some cool ideas and some logic that I want to support by default. So I'm very excited to see how this is gonna become in the future. So that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions or comment, leave it in the description and leave in the comments actually, and I will try to answer as fast as possible. My name is Guilherme and I see you in the next video.